The new Xbox Game Pass advertisement recently released has quickly generated a lot of discussion online, and if you've seen it, you might understand why. On the surface, it's a straightforward marketing attempt to highlight one of Game Pass's biggest selling points: the immediacy and convenience of accessing a vast library of games. The ad opens with a nostalgic visual: a person sitting in what appears to be a disc return box, looking bored and frustrated, waiting for a game to be returned. The scene is clearly meant to evoke a sense of the past, reminding viewers of a time when physical media dominated gaming and access to new titles often depended on whether someone else had returned a disc or whether you could even get your hands on a copy. The metaphor is visually simple, even a little humorous, but is also emotionally complicated. The figure in the box looks lonely and defeated, and while this conveys the point that gaming used to be inconvenient, it also risks making viewers feel a bit uncomfortable or even pitiful for that person. Immediately following this opening, the ad transitions to a bright modern scene: a person sitting in front of a console or PC, instantly booting up a game through Game Pass. The lighting is bright, the scene is energetic, and the contrast with the first scene is designed to be striking. The ad emphasizes the idea that now new games are added all the time, and you no longer have to wait for physical copies or for other people to finish playing them. The intended takeaway is clear: Game Pass represents freedom, immediacy, and access to a wide library of games, and it positions this as a major improvement over the frustrations of the past. However, the ad introduces several points of confusion that makes its message somewhat muddled, especially for viewers who aren't already familiar with Game Pass. First, the statement that new games are added all the time is technically accurate, but only tells part of the story. Game Pass does rotate its library regularly, adding new titles nearly every month, but also removes games on a monthly basis. This creates a subtle disconnect between the ad's promise and the reality of the service. For someone who is not already a subscriber, the ad might suggest that once a game is added, it is available indefinitely, which is not the case. This omission of important context is a classic example of a marketing message being simplified to the point of ambiguity, and while it may catch attention, it can also lead to confusion or disappointment down the line. Second, the visual metaphor of someone in a disc return box is meant to be humorous and relatable, but it is also emotionally jarring. Some viewers online have noted that feels slightly tone deaf, almost mocking the past in a way that isn't entirely necessary. While the contrast between old frustrations and modern convenience is clear, the depiction of someone trapped in a box might leave viewers with mixed feelings about the ad's emotional tone. It's a bold choice, but one that may not resonate universally. Another element that adds to the confusion is the lack of clarification regarding subscription tiers and what is included. Xbox Game Pass has multiple subscription levels: console, PC, and Ultimate, and not every benefit or new game applies to all tiers. By presenting new games added all the time without specifying whether this is for the base tier or the top tier subscription, this ad leaves questions unanswered. Someone unfamiliar with the service could easily assume that all games across all platforms are available immediately to anyone with any subscription, which is misleading. This highlights a common tension in marketing subscription services: the need to communicate benefits clearly while keeping the message simple and visually engaging. The ad clearly prioritizes simplicity and instant gratification over precision, but in doing so, it sacrifices clarity. Breaking down the ad scene by scene helps illustrate where it succeeds and where it falls short. In the first scene, the use of a gray dull box and a frustrated gamer is effective in conveying the inconvenience of the past. Viewers immediately understand the message. There used to be barriers to playing games, whether due to limited availability or physical constraints. The second scene contrasts this with the present, showing a sleek modern setup and someone instantly accessing a game via Game Pass. The visual and emotional contrast is effective, but as previously mentioned, the emotional tone shifts abruptly from frustration to joy, which can feel a little jarring. The final frame features the Game Pass logo and a tagline, reinforcing the brand and the core benefit of instant access. However, as discussed, there is no mention of limitations, tier differences, or game removals, which leaves a gap between expectation and reality. The messaging in this ad matters because Xbox Game Pass has become a central part of Microsoft's gaming ecosystem. It's no longer just a supplementary service. It is a major selling point for consoles and PCs alike. How this service is perceived, especially by new or potential subscribers, depends heavily on the clarity of its marketing. The ad reinforces the sense of convenience and modernity for existing subscribers, which is positive, but for newcomers, it risks creating misunderstandings. Viewers may come away thinking that Game Pass provides unlimited permanent access to every game ever added, which is not accurate. This is especially important in the current landscape where subscription fatigue is a growing concern and gamers are increasingly discerning about the value they receive from services. From a marketing analysis perspective, the ad is successful in certain aspects. The nostalgic to modern contrast is visually striking and immediately communicates the key selling point of convenience. The ad is short, easy to understand at a glance, and uses humor and visual storytelling effective to catch attention. It also emphasizes a benefit that resonates broadly. No one likes to wait for games, and Game Pass provides instant access to a large library. However, the execution could have been strengthened with small but significant adjustments. A single line clarifying the scale of the library, the types of games added, or even acknowledging that some titles rotate out would add credibility and prevent misinterpretation. Similarly, softening the depiction of the first scene to make it humorous without evoking pity could make the ad more emotionally consistent and appealing to a wider audience. In conclusion, the new Xbox Game Pass ad is a fascinating example of marketing that is visually engaging and conceptually clear at first glance, but complicated in its execution. It effectively communicates the convenience and immediacy of the service, but it leaves out context that could clarify exactly what subscribers are getting. For longtime gamers and existing subscribers, the ad likely reinforces the sense that Game Pass is a service worth having. For newcomers or casual gamers, the ad is confusing in its promises and emotional tone, potentially setting unrealistic expectations. Despite these shortcomings, the ad succeeds in sparking conversation and keeping Xbox Game Pass in the spotlight, which is arguably the ultimate goal of any marketing campaign. It is a strong concept with imperfect execution, and it serves as a reminder that even straightforward marketing messages can become complicated when the details of a subscription service are left unexplained. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notifications on all videos as soon as they are released. Until next time, game on.